Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tiny Tidy Tuesday. This is a collab run by Sunday Dawn over at The Helpful Home. You can find her channel and a link to the playlist down below. You just saw the projects I did in the first and second episodes, and then this is going to be episode 3. I really kind of have two goals here. One, I have some clothes I need to find that are not in my closet, and I have not been able to find them in the laundry. And then the little drawer thing I just pulled out, I had noticed as I was finishing the sewing supply project that that was stashed in this bookcase, and so I wanted to get that done. So those are kind of my two goals, kind of pick up, clean up, and hopefully find these clothes, which I do. Had to take a quick break to find out that my son was on his way home from town and having car trouble. And since I have no car here when this is being filmed, there wasn't much I could do about it. So he did wind up, his dad was able to stop on his way home from work and get the belt back on. And so kids are both home safe and sound now at their dad's house because it's his week. Anyway, so this is what I'm doing to keep busy. We actually lost my grandma on Thursday evening. And we've had quite a few losses over the years. That incidentally was my grandmother's at one time. We lost her back in 2003. And the film was actually probably my grandfather's. We lost him in 2006. Sewing supplies were combined between grandmother and mom. We lost mom in 2008. So anyway, over the years, we've had a lot of loss. And unfortunately, I've kind of realized that time still moves on, and there's kind of these things that need to be done, but then in between those things that need to be done, there's a lot of empty space. And I'm not saying don't grieve or, don't take time. I'm just saying sometimes sitting and crying for days on end is not necessarily the best option. These were tissues. I got the voicemail that it was just a matter of hours or days, and proceeded to sit there and cry for about 3 hours before I could call my uncle back. At which point I found out that she had wound up with COVID, and they were doing what they could for her, but I mean, she was 98. So anyway, so I had kind of taken some time and just kind of let everything wash over at first. And then I called to find out what was actually going on, because I couldn't really understand the voicemail. And at that point, she was not gone yet. So it was like, okay, thanks for the heads up, and I just have to keep doing what I needed to get done. when I was in Mary Kay, somebody had told me about this thing called the milking the cow attitude, and I'm not even sure what it came up with. I think they were like, you just have to keep doing these steps even if you don't feel like it type thing. This was a baby blanket that Grandma had knitted at one point. My kids didn't use it, but like, I don't even really understand what the process was with that. I think she'd made one for each of the grandkids as we were having great grandkids, and filled in for the ones that hadn't had any yet. And then she went back through and was basically trying to get it so that each of us that had more than one kid would be able to have blankets for each of them to have with their kids, type of thing. Anyway, they had been in a cabinet in the bathroom that is now empty. It's actually, those are going up to the storage bathroom. And it's okay to take your time and to just kind of trudge through a little bit. I know there's a lot of kind of, I guess, hurry up and wait to some degree when it's time for me to take my berberine. Anyway, there's a lot of hurry up and wait. If you're the person that's making decisions and arrangements and stuff, there's a bit more to do, but then there's always those times when you have to try and muddle through figuring out what clothes to have them wear and find some photos for the display stuff and do these things. And it's a lot of processing and choices, and decision fatigue is a real thing. And so there are certain things that just have to get done. I have to get clothes figured out for what we're wearing to the viewing, and then the next day to the funeral. And so like in the couple days since she passed, it's like, okay, well, I had to track down the clothes that I knew I wanted to wear. I don't have a large wardrobe, so there's only a few things that would make sense to wear in those situations. And take care of that. And I just, so far I hadn't been able to find them. And like, I did wind up going down and helping my uncles with clothes for Grandma and jewelry, and looking through photo albums and reminiscing and hearing stories about various things. And if you can do that, that is awesome. In our family, funerals are definitely, I mean, don't get me wrong, people are sad and upset and stuff, but there's often as much laughing as there is crying, because we're talking about memories and telling stories. And one of the problems when you're home, especially if you're home alone, is you don't necessarily have someone to share the memories with, or to bring you out of the missing the person and back into what a wonderful life they led. You know what I mean? So I like to try and keep busy. Life goes on. Like I was saying before my alarm went off, in Mary Kay, there was somebody had told me about this whole milking the cow attitude. and I really identified with it at the time. I have never actually lived on a farm, but Grandma and Grandpa did. And we lost Grandpa in 91, but two of my uncles still live there on the farm, and another one also works there. But they've been dairy farmers for years. And it doesn't matter if it's a holiday or the weekend, the cows still need milked. I mean, these days they are not milking. They still have the dairy cows and stuff, but they are not actually milking every day. And I'm back. So yeah, if I haven't said it already, the papers I'm looking at right now are pictures of the floral arrangements and cards from my dad's funeral from a couple years ago. Yeah. And all the way through this, I'm like almost completely unaware that Little Bit is even in the room. But what I was saying about the whole milking the cows thing, like you still have to go milk, whether it's you or somebody else. So there's some things that you need to get done. And because life continues, it still has to be done, even if it's around other things or whatever. So I have found that a good project not really a good project. It's good to do things that don't take a lot of mental energy in the wait times. Obviously, you still have to make sure that you are getting the bare necessities done, whether that's like the laundry so you have the clothes to wear, or food cooked for the kids, cats fed, that kind of thing. But then, aside from that, if you have a large quantity of time that you're basically sitting there feeling bad, missing somebody, wondering why this happened or that happened, or, all of those thoughts that are just kind of running through your head, it's good to keep yourself busy. Even if it's not stuff you have to make decisions about, like doing dishes. There's not a choice about what dish you're going to, you just pick up a dish and you wash it. I always find that to be a good one. Or like just you do laundry. It doesn't matter what laundry you do, unless of course you need the clothes for, but it keeps you moving and it keeps you from spiraling too far down in some of those thoughts. So here is what I wound up with. One thing leaving that area, a whole bag full of stuff for trash, and it's at least better than it was.